Our next presenter is Beth Ramsay. Beth has more than 20 years of training, connecting, and coaching. She's a past district director for District 84 and most recently region advisor. Beth is a past president of the National Speakers Association and an expert in many topics, including women in business, teamwork, communication, and problem solving. Let's welcome Beth Ramsay.
Yay! Thank you, Miss Sue. Welcome, everybody. I'm so excited that you chose to be here. I know you had other options and you chose wisely. Here we go. All right. I hope that you have the handout. Sue's going to keep making sure that you have the handout because that's where you take your notes. I didn't put a lot of information on that piece of paper. I'm going to share it with you. My intent over the next few minutes is to share information that I have learned and share some techniques and things that have worked for me, okay? So I want to share this with you. The first thing, if you see on your handout that pretty little butterfly, that means types of speakers. The public does not know, and maybe you don't, and if you don't, you will in a second. There's more than one type of keynote speaker. The general public says, oh, you're a motivational speaker, because that's all they know we are. In the beginning, I would try to correct them. Well, no, I do this or I do that or whatever. Now I just say, yep, because it doesn't, that's to them, that's all they know. There are different types of keynote speakers. One is a technical speaker. You're talking about a topic. You're a topic expert. There's an inspirational, the motivational speaker, industry experts, entertainment only. Who has heard of Jeannie Robertson? Jeannie Robertson. I'm going to give you in the chat her YouTube channel. Unfortunately, she passed away a couple years ago. But she is absolutely one of the most dynamite, humorous storytellers that was on the planet. That was her thing. She knew she was a humor only. There was no earth-changing thing. There was no new technology. She was entertainment. And her sweet spot was in a 3-day conference. She was the second day noontime, lunchtime keynoter. Why? Because she gave the breath of fresh air. Everybody's been in their sessions for a day and a half. They know they have a day and a half to go. She provided the humorous break. So she is fantastic.
Of the country, as you know.
Oh, did I hear it? I heard it from somewhere. Okay, there you go. So she's wonderful. All right, go down to the percentage sign, the percentage of emerging speakers who think they must be with a speakers bureau. Let me dispel you of this myth. Speakers bureaus do not want you until you don't need them. Write that down. That's tweetable. Spell my name right. Okay. The tables have turned, however, in our time, in that the internet and the social media and everything, you can self-promote. People do it now. You can put up a podcast. What time is it, Sue? 12:30 Eastern time. You can put up a podcast by 2 o'clock this afternoon. You don't need a speakers bureau. Okay. They don't have the same impact that they used to. Let's go to the little male-female icon on there. Questions that would be helpful to know the answers to. I find it helpful when I have a person who wants to hire me, I ask them certain questions. The key question is, how much time do you want me to speak? You've got to know that. And it's amazing to me how many people haven't even thought about it. Oh, I don't know. Well, no, I need a time. Well, how much time do you need? I get that. Well, I have done a 2.5-day retreat. Would you like 2.5 days? Or, I can do those things. But if somebody says, we have 25 minutes, okay, I might have a presentation that's an hour, but I can pare it down to 25 minutes. That's why I need you to tell me how much time. Now, here is a little tip that new speakers tend to do. You cannot put 10 pounds of flour in a 5-pound sack. You cannot cram 60 minutes worth of stuff into 25. It just can't be done. Don't try it. Pick what's the most important so that you can share. To me, it's important to know another fact. Can you tell me number of people that you expect in the audience? It just gives me an idea. There's a huge difference between presenting to 20 people and presenting to 2,000. And I've done both of them. I will take 2,000 people any day over 20. Why? They react faster, they laugh faster, they emote faster. Everything is faster and bigger. As opposed to 20 people, I have to work that much harder. It's a heavy lift. So it's important to know, I like to know, how many people do they expect? Also, is it more of a male or female audience? Female audience, I prefer, or more female or all female, because I know I can get them with emotion. Men tend to do this. Yeah, and it's like I can use my best tearjerker stuff and they just don't move. But women, there's a particular presentation I do, and at the end I give an example story of that happened with my kids, and I know without a doubt I will get at least one woman doing this, and I look for it, and I know as soon as I see this, I'm like, yes, home run, got it, because I got the emotion. All right. The other thing is, I like to ask the person who wants to hire me, is there a particular message or plan of action that you want the audience to leave with? That's important. Why is that important? If they don't know what success looks like, how am I going to hit the mark? And I want them to go, gosh, she hit it out of the park. I want them to hire me again. Right? Okay, everybody with me? All right, now we're moving to the little cow on the clock. I want to share with you information about 2 points regarding time. One is I have found that the time of day that you are scheduled makes a difference. Time of day. Well, why is that, Beth? Well, because think about it. If you've been to conferences, there's like an 8 o'clock. What do you start at? Like 8 o'clock, 8:30, and you might have an 8:30 or 9 o'clock keynoter. Well, people are still asleep, right? Half the people are not morning people, or old Fred went and got, imbibed too much at the bar the night before. I mean, it's a different way of getting people up and going in the morning, as well as lunchtime. Lunchtime, you can bring it all. You can bring all your energy, all your passion, everything there, because they're awake and they're going. Nighttime's a totally different deal. Is it an 8 o'clock? Is it a dinner? Is it after dinner? You've got to do things that are going to keep people engaged and going. My favorite parts, I have 2 favorite times. 10 o'clock in the morning is my favorite time, because usually people who are not awake have woken up by then, and it's a great energizer leading into the lunch break. I really like that part. So that's one. Time of day you talk is important to know. The other one is knowing the exact timing of your modules. Now, let me share with you something that you may or may not know. Experienced professional keynoters have usually 3 talks, 2 or 3 talks that they're known for. That's about it. They don't have a whole cadre. They have like 3. And they use the beginning, the opening, and the closing is always the same in that talk. Now, I don't mean in all 3 of them. I mean, in that particular talk, the opening, closing stays the same. They might have 3 modules in the middle. They might have 5 modules in the middle. It doesn't matter, but they do know. First module is exactly 7 minutes. Second module is 8 minutes, 45 seconds. The third one is 11 minutes. They know this, and here's why. How much time do you want me to talk? Oh, we want you to do 45 minutes. Okay, my standard keynote I use is 60 minutes. I know I could pull out a 10-minute block that's in the middle. You see what I'm saying? You get with me? So you need to know what to pull out. And let me give you an example of what happened to me. Be prepared to do it on the fly too. Here's what happened to me. I was a keynoter for a big financial conference. And of course, as non-professional speakers tend to do, they go long. This is why if you're going into the speaking profession, you better darn well pay attention to time. That's really important. And Toastmasters is where you need to learn it and perfect. 7 minutes means 7 minutes. It doesn't mean 9. And there's none of this don't time me DTM stuff. I hate hearing that. It annoys me. So don't say that as a professional. I hate that. But here's what happened to me. I was hired for 90 minutes, 90-minute talk. By the time I got on there, and I was the last talker, I was the last one on the agenda, and they wanted me to close out this whole big financial event. By the time it got to me, they were 45 minutes late. So I asked the planner, what would you like me to do? Do you want me to do the entire content, or do you want me to end on time? What do you think she said? End on time. So on the fly, I had to pull out modules and not do them. Now, you can't tell that I had to do that. And I cashed the check anyway. I was there. I was ready to do the whole thing. And because they ran late, it's not my fault. So, and I don't mean that in a callous way. I mean that to make my point that you need to know the timing on every single little piece. And if you have to take modules out, it still has to flow and make sense. So it's difficult. This is not easy. All right, page 2. If you see the little alcohol, the pretty drinks, it's important to know if you are going to be speaking at night, is there alcohol being served or not? And that may seem like a strange question that you wouldn't need to think about, but trust me, if you're going on at 8, 8:30 and they've had an open bar for 3 hours, yeah, you need to know, that. I prefer not to do that. I don't like to speak past 5 p.m. Now, that's just me out of experience. Will I do it at night? Yes. Have I done it at night? Yes. Have I done it when there's alcohol? Yes, I have. But I don't like it. So for me, I prefer to do 5 o'clock or earlier. All right. The next thing with the little recording things, you want to record everything. Because when we're speaking, you might come up with a line in response to somebody or a reaction from an audience. You might come up with a throwaway statement, a little joke, a little line, or something that got a big laugh or a great response. And you'll go, oh, I'll remember that. No, you won't. You will not remember that. So there have been many times that I have gone back to a recording and went, oh, wow, I don't even remember saying that. And then I've also listened to things where, I could tie it stronger. I could have done a better job in tying that back around. So do record everything. And there are little digital recording devices, and get a lavalier, if you know what that is, a little clip-on mic. And my suggestion is, ladies, don't put it anywhere where your jewelry will hit. Also, don't put it on a lapel here, because when I'm talking to the audience this way, your voice is gone. Okay, so it needs to be in the middle, somewhere in the middle, so it catches you no matter where you go. And just as a side note, really quick, you know how they have the little battery packs? If you've all had them, if you've ever had one and the wire runs through your clothes and you have a little battery pack, find out what kind of a microphone they're going to use, because you need to have something with a waistband or a belt to hang on to, because I used to always have the Chico's kind of leisure travel clothes because I would travel. And one time they didn't have the clippy on it, and I had to stick it kind of in the band, and there was nothing hard holding it. So for 45 minutes, I felt this thing working its way down past my underwear and into I'm telling you, into my pants, and it went down. And luckily, by the time I walked off stage, it plopped out of my pant leg. It was the craziest thing. So learning lesson, I'm telling you, If I screwed it up, I'm sharing it with you now. Okay. And now the little thing with the little Post-it notes. This is important. Even now, when you're creating Toastmaster talks, keep notes on everything. Keep notes of all your ideas, your little phrases, put everything in folders that you can use later. It's really important that you do that, because you'll never know. You might put all these notes and well, here's how I create. I just put notes and ideas and thoughts and, oh, well, if I'm going to do that, well, then, well, that story might go there. And then I kind of whittle it down and whittle it down and whittle it down. But don't ever discard anything. I will cut and paste into a holding folder. And there are times where I've gone back, I can't think of an idea or I can't think of a story. I go back to my holding folder and read through what I have and went, perfect. That's a perfect story to illustrate this point. Don't throw anything away. The other thing is, do keep a record of the stories that you've told to audiences, especially clients, because if they ask you back, hopefully they will, they'll ask you back, you might want to tell different stories, because you'll get caught. Oh gosh, I talked to American Express 2 years ago. What did I say? What did I tell? Do I need, it's that kind of thing. So keep a record. The exception to that is if you have a powerful, famous signature story that you're known for, be prepared for clients to ask for it again. And that's okay, repeating. Okay. Now I'm going to give you this. I want to give you this in the chat. Has anybody heard of Andy Andrews? Andy Andrews is absolutely an exceptional speaker. He has got it all. He's got humor, he's got timing, he's got content. And I wanted to hire him about 20 years ago for an event. I was in an organization, and his speaking fee at that time was slightly out of our budget. It was 25 grand. So I'm like, oh goodness, love you, Andy, can't afford you. Okay. All right. So I have before my final 2 tips, I know Sue's giving me yellow. I'm going to give you 2 links to podcasts where I'm doing this for my district. I'm on the podcast team. I'm really thrilled about that. And my specialty is talking about the professional speaking arena. So there is one, and here is the other one. I'll be posting more, but these are the 2 that are up right now. I invite you to enjoy. There you go, right there. Okay, here are my final 2 tips really quick. How to practice. First of all, most of us don't practice nearly enough. 2 or 3 times is not it. Reading it in our head is not it. And my suggestion too is to don't write it out word for word. That might work for some people. Most people, it doesn't. And I promise you, I can stand there and watch somebody and tell if they memorized a written word for word speech, because if they miss a word, it screws them up and they stop. What you want to do is write out fragments, key bullet points. If there's a phrase or a closing or something you want exact, write that out exactly. But then just practice. And here's how I practice. Once I kind of get my fragments and things, I stand up. I have my Word document in front of me. I stand up. I speak out loud, because this makes a difference. So I stand up and I'm talking as if I'm talking to the audience. And I just walk through it. I just talk through it. And if I say something great, I go, oh, that was good. And I type it in so that I practice it. Now, once you know your talk, my suggestion is to practice it backwards. Why? Because in the beginning, when you start practicing, then what happens? The phone rings. Okay, well, then where do you start back over? The beginning. So then the dog wants to go out. Then you start back over in the beginning. What do you know really well? The beginning. So start backwards. Do the ending, do the ending, do the ending, add the phrase in front of that. That's how you practice. And then you finish stronger, because that's what you know better. Okay. And finally, don't tell somebody else's story. Nobody is more authentic than you. You have your own stories. You've lived your own life and experiences. you are the awesome one. You're the one that people came to hear. Thank you, everybody.